the Bible's biggest image of God's relationship with humanity is marriage. And it's not to say that other images like the privilege of sonship or God calling us friends or being a servant of God, it's not saying that those aren't important. But I think when you go through the Bible, you just start to see there's marriage all over the place. Right back in the beginning, God created Adam and Eve, and so it begins with a wedding, it ends with a wedding at the very end of Scriptures when you've got the bride of Christ being brought to Christ and the wedding feast and so on. You've got all the way through these great themes of marriage being played out on a human level, but with God observing and commentating and really the human marriage constantly pointing to something greater. But then as you go through the Old Testament, so much of the language of faithfulness and unfaithfulness of God's people, you've gone off after other lovers, the spiritual adultery, the harlotry kind of images, you start to realize this is the big one. This is the big image that's going cover to cover. Yahweh and his wife in the Old Testament, Jesus and his bride in the New Testament. This is the big theme because this is the ultimate relationship. We're not just invited to be willing soldiers in God's army. Ultimately, we're invited to be part of the bride of Christ. And so it's no mistake that marriage is under attack, that marriage on a human level is constantly suffering because it's an image that points to the great marriage. And so as you read the Bible, I think once you start to see that, you start to see it more and more and more, almost on every page, themes of faithfulness and unfaithfulness and unity and union and the indwelling presence and I in you and you in me, always all the way through speaking ultimately of God and humanity brought together. That's why I think marriage is such a theme, because it's the ultimate image of God's plan, God's purpose.